Today's celebration is a struggle for me, not just because the readings are long and the topic is about suffering. That's kind of a deadly combination. But kidding aside, I struggle with this celebration because it involves contradiction. Today is called both Palm Sunday and Passion Sunday. The Gospel shows two opposite responses to Jesus. The first part we proclaim on the choir loft shows the people of Jerusalem crying out in jubilation, Hosanna to the Son of David, Hosanna to the Son of David. The second part, proclaimed up here, depicts a similar crowd saying, crucify him, let him be crucified. In the beginning of the week, people praise and worship Jesus as a king who they hope would liberate them from oppression. A few days later, they deny, reject, condemned him to a most horrible death reserved for the worst of criminals. What a dramatic shift. Because if you and I are honest, we do the same. Confronted with this great drama, it's hard to connect my head and my heart. My head wants to declare that love and justice conquers all suffering and death, and that humility underlies the heart of God. But my heart resists that difficult humiliation that comes before humility, and the pain that opens up my soul for greater self-giving love. It is very tempting for me to approach the passing of Jesus like a bystander watching a dramatic play or movie on stage, to see it as a story that happened some time ago, somewhere else, to someone else. Yet, there are two kinds of experiences that invites me this week differently. The persecutions of Christians today and remembering the deaths of loved ones. Last December, Pope Francis had said this: there are more Christians today, there are more Christian martyrs today than in the early days of Christianity. Recent studies have reported that the spread of persecution has gotten worse in the past 3 years, now hitting nearly every single continent. One report has 322 Christians killed every month. That means today, every day, 10 Christians are killed around the world. Christians are the most persecuted group in the world. Yet, stories of their faith amaze me. On the lips of recent martyrs were the words, only the words, Jesus, help me. Like Jesus at Gethsemane, they cried out to someone greater, someone they trusted despite their fear and horrific treatment. In the way they faced death, they echoed Jesus' faith that nothing is impossible with God, even though suffering abounds. Both my cousin and my mother's mother suffered greatly at the end of their lives. And although they died 2 decades apart, they taught me a similar lesson. In their own way, they struggled, and yet they embraced their crosses. Despite my inability to accept my grandmother's impending death, she had come to a peaceful acceptance of her death. And before she passed, she shared with me that Jesus is with her, that she is sharing his suffering, and that he is sharing hers. It took me a long time to understand that. And much of her life has been that crucible of faith, that particular way of Jesus drawing her close to him. My young cousin, T, witnessed a similar intimacy. She died at 32 years old. Within 6 months after catching a rare cancer. She left a 4-year-old and an 8-month-old. But when suggested by her pastor to unite her suffering with Jesus and to help the kids in a nearby hospital, she understood fully and she said, yes. She didn't have an easy time by far, but she allowed so many of us, including myself, to be with her in her last moments. We sang the prayer of St. Francis in tears as she gave up her spirit. Like our grandmother, she embraced Jesus' stance before his death. She taught us how to die with grace, because we all die. While the doctors and our earnest prayer could not save her, I believe that our presence may have eased her suffering and accompanied her home to God. Remembering the way my cousin and my grandmother lived and died beckons me to enter the passion of Jesus. When we let the suffering of anybody near us, or people from afar, or even our own suffering, and let it disturb us, we enter the drama of Christ's passion. The drama that goes on in here, where we can touch God more deeply. We become participants more than observers. Then we might know the central mystery of our faith, not just up here, but here. We might be stripped from our illusions of control, our illusions about God, about life, about death, about success, and we might discover that death is the other side of life. And we might live before we die. Practically, what does this involve? Let me suggest 3 concrete ways. Read the stories of persecuted Christians today. Let their faith touch you. They are the crucified Christ today. Second, ask for the gift of being with Jesus suffering. And then spend time with anyone who is poor, needy, marginalized, afflicted, and let your suffering be touched by theirs. Third, watch one of these 2 films. One of God and Men, about the Trappists in Algeria, and the other one, Romero, about Archbishop Romero. 2 contemporary portrayals of Jesus' radical love. You have to try all 3, just one this week. And you might say, Father Tree, I'm not into drama and I have too much drama in my life already. Then I would say to you, God can be dramatic because drama hits us more than subtle truth. Drama shakes us into new life because we all die, but not all of us live. And definitely, I don't often live fully. Because I'm hot-headed and stubborn-hearted, God has to use drama to shake me up. So today we celebrate Jesus entering into Jerusalem as the Messiah. Not as a king who rules over, but one who empties himself, who enters our suffering to say, I'm here, you're not alone. I'm with you I'm laboring to bring greater life in yours. Let us be drawn into the passion of God, the drama of God's extravagant and humbled love through Jesus on the cross, in our own crosses.